Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Poulan Pro BVM200FE handheld blower. Customer complaint is that
Oh, that's got old fuel.
it won't start. There may be a clue in the fuel tank as far as the way it smells. Didn't smell good at all. None of that matters though if the piston is scored. So we're going to pull this side cover off and pull the spark plug out and get a good look inside that cylinder and make sure everything's clean and this repair would be worthwhile. Just give that thing a yank, dude. You got to remember that this machine sold for a little over $100 and we need to hopefully, ideally, come in under half the value of that. That spark plug looks like brand new. In fact, the whole machine looks like brand new. So fixing it, if we can do it for the right dollar amount, is a worthwhile effort. The piston and cylinder look really clean. We're going to move forward on this. A closer look inside the fuel tank reveals our actual problem. The fuel line rotted off at the tank where it passes through the tank. Why it rotted off and the rest of the machine looks so good, I'm not real sure. But anytime we have a rotten fuel line, we have to take a look at the carburetor and see if things are just as rotten inside there or if we have a stiff metering diaphragm. So 2 screws run through the air box and hold the carburetor on, and they run into this insulator block. Well, we're just gonna check those 2 screws on the insulator block and make sure they're tight, just because we have access to them right now. So off comes the cover for the metering diaphragm. Let's see what we got in here. Thing's in really nice shape. It's pliable. We're gonna run with it. And the reason we're doing that is if I started digging into the carburetor, you know, the cost of a carb kit, then the extra labor to put it in, you know, we're going to be getting over that halfway point of the value of the machine, and then we're going to have to make a phone call to the customer, and that takes time, and we're going to take our chances and put some fuel lines on here and see if it runs. That's kind of like the tipping point here. I mean, if I put this back together with new fuel lines and it doesn't run, and I have to backtrack, that's a problem. I mean, that's even more time that I wasted on this thing. So, you know, you got to be careful about the decisions you make sometimes on these repairs. And you can't just say, well, the customer's paying for the labor no matter what you do, because if you're doing the wrong thing and you're charging the customer, you're really going to end up earning a bad reputation as a mechanic, as a gouger, whatever. So the point here is that you got to try and be as efficient as possible on these repairs. If you have minimum labor charges in place, you know, maybe that helps the situation a little bit. So we cut a taper on the end of the fuel lines and pushed them through the tank, then grabbed them with the pliers and pulled them through. We're going to reuse the gasket for 2 reasons: cost, and I don't have another gasket. Yeah, make it 3 reasons. That gasket looks pretty good anyway. It's not the source of any air leak or problem with this machine, I'm sure. We've trimmed the fuel lines to length. We're pushing them onto the carburetor. If the carb has a barbed fitting with multiple barbs and a barbed fitting with a single barb, then the multiple barbed fitting usually is the one that the fuel filter goes on. So we're going to run our screws through the air box, through the carburetor, through the gasket, and into the plastic insulator block. Be careful how tight you crank these down because, like I said, it is plastic. Looks like we're digging for another surprise in the tank here. What do we got? Alright, let's put this thing back together and see if it runs. We got our foam air filter in here. Our air filter cover just snaps into place. Hooked on the bottom and snapped on the top. We're going to put our spark plug back in. And that'll get cranked down to 1.5 ugga-duggas. Little function check on our throttle linkage there, make sure everything feels good. It's a habit that I've gotten into, you know, just so you don't end up with a runaway piece of equipment. Okay, the side cover goes back on, and you may have noticed that this repair probably could have been done without taking that side cover off. But it does make looking into the cylinder easier. It makes inspecting the rest of the engine easier. Looking for leaks, whatever. So I always take them off when I'm doing this kind of repair.
Stripes.
Alright, well, I'm going to refill my gas can here. Top this thing off and see if it's going to run. We made the right choice here or not. Got to fix this gas cap first though. So that's all I got for you on the Poulan Pro BVM200FE handheld blower repair. Thanks for watching. Later.